Welcome to the Merlin Crypto Market Update located on the X app. I'm Abs, the host and senior engagement officer at Merlin, and today's episode features a replay from our Merlin X Spaces. Every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m., you can catch us live on the X app at Get Merlin Crypto. We dive into captivating discussions about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology with our engaged audience, special guests, and the founders of Merlin. Please note, these spaces can sometimes experience technical hiccups and end suddenly. It's all part of the experience. Thanks for tuning into the Crypto Market Update, proudly brought to you by Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Crypto Market Update from your favorite team over here at Merlin. We got Mario, we got Gonzo, and we may have Johnny Crypto joining us tonight, so I'm super excited for the topics that I have prepared. Now, we are going to make this a lighthearted spaces because, first of all, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Crypto Market. I have myself playing in the background over here. Sorry about that. But we are going to make this a lighthearted episode. It is Halloween night. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Mr. Beast controversy. We've got some Bitcoin news we'll break down, U.S. crypto election impacting the four-year cycles, and, of course, we'll sprinkle in some SEC versus Ripple as well. But, Mario, I'd love to start with you, and then we'll kick it straight to Gonzo. How you feeling? And thanks for being here.
Feeling great, Abs. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all also doing amazing, or at least feeling great like I am. And yeah, super excited to be back on another Merlin Spaces. It's been a while since we've been on here. So super excited. These are really exciting times. We've got a lot of good topics, a lot of good stuff in the crypto space. So we definitely have a lot to talk about. And plus, we always have a lot to talk about anyway. If you guys watch Good Morning Crypto, you know that we always got something going on with crypto. So yeah, super excited to be here with you guys. Excited to see Gonzo here, and let's see if we get Johnny Crypto as well.
Absolutely, guys. Now, I wouldn't be too optimistic, but hopefully you can hear me right now. Can you guys hear me, Mario? Because it's telling me my
Yes,
audio. Okay,
we hear.
perfect.
Yep. Okay, now I think I lost you. Can you hear me, Gonzo?
I can. I'm actually cutting in and out, so I don't know if it's me or you guys.
I think it's all three of us. We're a dynamic trio up here, guys. Gonzo, I did want to tell you this week, Bitcoin 70%. Sorry, New York Stock Exchange is seeking to list Grayscale's crypto index ETF. There's only 5 currencies in that ETF: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and AVAX. So I thought that was pretty cool because me and you went out on a limb maybe like 6 or 8 months ago, starting to talk a lot about AVAX and the blockchain in and of itself. And this to me is a huge indicator that it's going to be one of the projects here after regulation. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, how you feeling, dude? We definitely miss you on GMC. I'm excited to have you back tomorrow.
Yeah, man, it's going to be nice to be back tomorrow. Yeah, we haven't had the spaces in a while, so it's just nice to be here with you guys and be here with everybody. It feels like a lot of things have changed, right? We've been in this downtrend for Bitcoin, and it's funny because I had my call on Monday, and I told people like this is a big week for Bitcoin. It's like a decision time, right? We following these two theories about what is more important. Is it the cycles and like the seasonality of Bitcoin, which means we need to start breaking out of this downtrend, or is it monetary policy, right? Is it more important for the interest rate cuts and what's going to happen with the election? So you saw that we broke up to 72K. We were there for a little bit, got rejected. We're coming down. It was nothing not expected, right? When you have so much resistance at this level, when you're talking about a high time frame candle closes, it even goes back to last cycle. It's like a giant barrier. And so I wasn't surprised when we got rejected and we've been pulling down a little bit. But, usually it's basically a 4-year cycle, 3 years of basically green candles of it going up, and then one big red candle of it going down, and then that's alt season, right? And that usually happens in the post-halving year, which is going to be 2025. So we're getting close, right? We're getting close. So for now, like you're just going to have Bitcoin dominance really high, and some of these altcoins continue to bleed to Bitcoin, but I think it's over.
So, Gonzo, there's a really cool clip that we played this morning from Bitwise CIO, and that's important because that was the first XRP spot ETF filed in the US. That was filed by Bitwise, and their CIO went on to Bloomberg yesterday and said that regardless of if Trump wins or if Kamala wins, he thinks it's actually going to be more bullish for altcoins in 2025 than Bitcoin. We've said that a lot. The returns are better for altcoins, but Bitcoin typically leads the cycle. I want to pull up the clip, and I'm going to get the audio for us in the background, but what are your thoughts on that? Just from a chart perspective, do you think altcoins will have higher returns in 2025, or is it going to be another Bitcoin dominated year?
That's the big theory, right? Like we've had an alt season every single cycle. That's what everybody chases. And so I don't see anything different, right? Here's what happens. Every cycle, as Bitcoin dominance rises and peaks out wherever it's going to peak out, there's like a capitulation event with altcoins where people, there's like a saying, Bitcoin dominance turns everyone into a Bitcoin maxi, right? And what it is that people just get sick and tired of their altcoins bleeding to Bitcoin, where they bought, like if you think about where you bought your altcoin, if you bought your altcoins in March and April, they have been bleeding consistently, right? And so that has this effect over the market where there's like a capitulation event where people just get sick and tired of their altcoins bleeding and they convert their altcoins into Bitcoin, and it causes a capitulation event, and it's really at the worst amount of time, right? It's at the point where Bitcoin dominance is finally topping out and it's going to collapse. The moment to get into Bitcoin was back in 2022 as Bitcoin dominance started to rise. That's when you wanted a Bitcoin heavy portfolio. If you didn't find that theory or you didn't learn that lesson because you were new to the cycles, then for me personally, I don't think it's kind of too late. So now all you can do is dollar cost average on your way down. But yeah, I do think that in 2025 we're going to get an alt season, right? That's the way that I'm playing it. Nothing is 100% certain in this market, right? But I wouldn't be here every day doing what I've been doing for the last 4 years if I didn't believe that we were going to get an alt season.
And it's definitely it's easier to be a crypto investor here in 2024 than it was just a couple of years ago for two reasons, right? One, we know Bitcoin's not going to zero. That was a big thought and big talking point when the FTX collapse happened. Bitcoin quickly went from about that $30,000 range all the way down to $15,000. And if you turned on Twitter and you looked on social media, everybody was saying we're going to 10, we're going to 5, maybe even we're going to $12,500. That obviously didn't occur. But not only that, since then, BlackRock has entered the market. Grayscale has entered the market. Fidelity's entered the market. So a lot of the players that we used to just sit around and talk about are putting real money into Bitcoin. And that's the first time in history that we can really say that definitively. Now, Mario, I did want to play this video for Gonzo. So I am going to play this very short video, and then we're going to get some opinions from both Mario and Gonzo. I'm trying this on Spaces for the first time. So I'm playing the audio from my computer to my iPhone. Here we go.
And when we talk about that, maybe a clarity from a regulation perspective, right? How much of that is necessary in order to continue that momentum, even potentially past 100,000?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I think we're going above 100,000 on Bitcoin. I think the regulatory clarity you're talking about actually matters more for the so-called altcoins, for Ethereum on down. Mm-hmm. Those are more exposed to regulatory risk. So I would expect an altcoin rally, even more so than a Bitcoin rally in the event of a Trump win. But regardless, I think both are moving higher.
Why does it matter as much for Bitcoin?
Yeah, so Bitcoin has more regulatory clarity than Ethereum and other assets. The SEC, the CFTC have already declared it a commodity. It's in the clear. There's already an ETF. BlackRock already has a huge business in that. That's not as true for Solana and Aptos and other altcoins. Mm-hmm. But I suspect if we get a new SEC, that will become clear, that will drive institutional adoption, and we'll see that rising tide lift all of those boats.
So, Mario, the reason that quote is so important is that's the Bitwise CIO, the person responsible for filing the first XRP spot ETF in the United States, explaining how he's more bullish on altcoins than he is Bitcoin, for the exact reason that people are staying away from these assets right now. There's just so much uncertainty, but there will be a day in the next, I believe, 2 years pretty safely where a lot of these altcoins not only have regulatory clarity, there's vehicles people can use as a BlackRock, as a Fidelity to purchase Ethereum and purchase Solana. And we started off the Spaces by talking about that. In the beginning of this episode, we talked about how the New York Stock Exchange is trying to list Grayscale's crypto index ETF, which only has 5 cryptocurrencies in there: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Avalanche. So again, I'm bullish on all 5. Maybe not as much when it comes to Ethereum, but the other 4, absolutely, Mario. I'd like to get your reaction to the clip, and then we'll kick it at Gonzo.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Look, we are such a beginning of this. It's crazy. We, anybody that's in the crypto space, you after a while you start to feel like you've been like you've been here for a long time, and that you kind of forget where we're at in this timeline. And obviously, listening to that clip, we heard a few key things like Bitcoin's got this clarity. The altcoins really don't have the clarity. So we're anticipating that regulation is going to be playing a big part on that, and obviously it will play a big part in that. And we speculate that regulation is ultimately going to be positive because it will finally provide guidance and clarity to the space. So with that said, it is a step in the right direction that we're getting. These ETFs, and obviously listening to that clip just kind of gives us that indication of what we've been seeing over the year. I mean, we finally got Bitcoin ETF, we've got Ethereum ETF. Now, we're on the show today that we had that ETF that well that grayscale uh, product, which has a combination of different those that could potentially be converted to an ETF. And that's what it really comes down to. Obviously, I don't think that the SEC. I mean, it's kind of difficult for me to believe that the SEC is going to approve any of these other ETF products for any of these other cryptos because I mean, it would really put them in a tough spot from a position of they've been very reluctant to really categorize anything outside of Bitcoin. I mean, Gary Gensler specifically, he's been very reluctant to categorize anything outside of Bitcoin. He didn't answer the question on Ethereum. We did get an approval of an Ethereum ETF. So I think that pretty much answered the question for Gary, right? So we probably could assume that Ethereum is not a security. But as far as the other assets, I mean, it sounds like the SEC stance is that pretty much a majority of all crypto is a security. So if they were to approve any of these ETFs, it would really be just shameful as far as what they've been doing up until now and what they could potentially be doing as far as changing their mind. It wouldn't surprise me because the behavior coming out of the SEC has been nothing but confusing and irrational. But I guess at this point we could assume anything, right? But look, I do believe that it will have to come to a point where 2025. We keep talking about 2025 as being this year that so much stuff is going to come into play. Obviously, we got the elections happening right now. We are turning the page. I know that one of the candidates to the presidency has a very has the video talking about this very same thing about turning the page, but we could be turning the page away from this hostile environment within the crypto space. And we talk about how either side could really either side could might not necessarily make a difference. So 2025, I do believe that the market will react positively. Obviously, as stated on that audio that you played, Abs, rising tide raises all boats. I am also more optimistic and excited about the altcoins than necessarily coin, but we cannot discard the fact, and we spoke about it during today's Good Morning Crypto, that obviously Bitcoin is that energy of the market, and we've seen it still this cycle. So this cycle has not been different. Bitcoin was the first to move. Bitcoin set a new all-time high early this year. It's now approaching it again. It was very close to it. It still continues to be that energy of the market, and so I do believe that we will see Bitcoin just go into price discovery and then somewhat of a repeat of what we saw last cycle, just capital flowing into the altcoins. And then let's see what regulation and the whole timeline of when this regulation comes in. Let's see how it plays into the whole thing, because depending on the regulation, and I've said this before, but like depending on the regulation, it could actually have a temporary negative effect on the market. That's my opinion, based on the fact that if the regulation is kind of, uh, if the regulation that comes out puts certain projects at risk based on the type of regulation, we could see it be temporarily negative. But obviously, for the ones that are looking to comply and that adapt to the regulation, it's going to be extremely bullish for the long term.
And we see big money's already entering the market, Mario. Solana ETF was filed yesterday. We had a crypto index in general that was filed earlier this week, and that only consisted of the 5 currencies that I've continued to break down. But Gonzo, a conversation that I'm seeing happening on Twitter, I'm scrolling through the feed as I'm hosting the show. Everybody's talking about the end of October and how this month was a disappointment. Doing a little mental math here, we entered the month 61,000 for Bitcoin. We're going to close out the month most likely above 70,000. I think that's about 12.5%, somewhere between 12.5 and 15% on the month. Now, typically, October does 25% returns. November's 12%, and then December is about 19%. I consider this a moderate October, right? Nothing crazy happened, but it's a good indicator that leading into November and heading into the end of the year, Bitcoin is going to outperform a lot of other assets, and specifically, it's going to break all-time high very, very soon. We were only $250 below all-time high earlier this week, so I think it's a very safe assumption that it happens in late November. What do you think, Gonzo? And then I'll get into our next article.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the move that it made when we like came all the way down to the bottom, I don't remember where the bottom of the candle is, but it's actually a pretty significant move. I was posting about this in the morning in the academy. We were waiting to see we were 10 hours away from the candle close, and obviously we've come down, but we were looking to close a candle closed on Bitcoin, one of the highest ever in its history, right? It needed to stay above, I think it was like 72,100, but it started to pull back. And so I'm sure that candle close happened lower. But again, it's just that big resistance level at kind of 72K. I don't see anything really different, right? I mean, October was green. We got to wait to see what happens with November. Um, what usually happens in November is we get some type of pullback at the beginning of November, and then it starts to run, right? I think what the market is looking for is certainty, right? And I had posted about this again in the academy. We're going to get volatility, right? Uh, there could be a story that comes out that, Trump's leading, and then the market runs. And then maybe another story comes out that Kamala's winning, and then all of a sudden the market corrects. But I think that once the market gets the certainty of whoever the winner is, and it can plan accordingly, I think it's going to continue to run like it always have. Q4 has always been super bullish for Bitcoin. If you look at like the analytics, retail investor is not here, but the institutions have been FOMOing in to Bitcoin, right? When you look at the flows of the Bitcoin spot ETF, it just keeps breaking records, right? And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. You got the stories of Michael Saylor that he's gonna get more levered up. He's gonna buy more Bitcoin, and the way it's probably gonna play out, right? We don't really know the day or the week to week, but here in Q4 and going to 2025 is you're going to see Bitcoin dominance is already topping out. It's starting to go parabolic. At some point, it's going to run out of steam as Bitcoin breaks its all-time high and it starts to go parabolic, right? And then there'll be some kind of shift. It's almost an unlock of the altcoins where Bitcoin will continue to go up as Bitcoin dominance starts to drop. And what we'll see is a shift where usually Bitcoin dominance keeps rising, right? And then as it starts to drop, the altcoins were like bleeding like they are now. They don't bleed. They level off and then they start to run. And then you'll see Bitcoin start to drop. And then that's where we get alt season, right? Where these altcoins will start to run. I think we're close, right? Maybe it happens this month. Maybe it happens in 2025. But all you could really do, like what I'm doing is I look at my average prices. I look at the hot narratives, the projects that I want to get into or that I'm already into. If the price drops below my average, I DCA, and if it doesn't, then I just sit tight. But I'm almost all the way in. I've got a little bit of money on the side that's just there for emergencies for major liquidation events, but I'm almost fully deployed and I'm ready to go because I think here in the next probably like 12 months, this whole thing will have been played out, right? We'll topped in Bitcoin, it had been rolled over, and we will have had the alt seasons. That's the way I'm playing the market.
Gonzo, really quick, bold prediction here, right? So there's only 410 or 450 Bitcoin produced every day. And I'm doing a little math. 15,000 Bitcoin were purchased by ETF issuers alone last week. That means there was 3,100 produced, 15,400 purchased. We're talking about a ridiculous amount of demand, and we're not even including the retail market. We're just talking about BlackRock and Fidelity, those massive names that we referenced earlier. If we see that same type of demand come into an altcoin that has 10 billion in market cap or 30 billion in market cap, these projects are going to 10, 12, 15x, and then they might roll over, but some of them will be here to stay. And if you're talking about a project like XRP that's beginning to like take tokenized assets such as gold and silver and derivatives and place them directly on the blockchain, well, that's not cyclical. That money's planted there for years and years and years. It's not going to leave in November and come back in October. We're talking about treasury bonds. Those are purchased in multi-year agreements. You can buy short-term treasury bonds, 3 years, 5 years, 2 years. We're talking long-term value. So I'm really excited. I think that the 4-year narrative is 100% real. I very much agree with you, but I'm just trying to provide the opposite end of this where if we get the same amount of demand that we're seeing for Bitcoin come into some of these altcoins, and I don't mean liquidity number. I don't mean we're going to see, $1 billion a day in altcoins being purchased. What I mean is that it takes a much smaller amount of liquidity to affect these projects. So some of the legitimate ones like HBAR and Algorand and XRP that have these lower market caps compared to a Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're going to do a 10x. I really believe that. Here's a great stat. And Mario, you can chime in. Gonzo, you can chime in. But if XRP at 51 cents in value today, 28 billion in market cap, did a 10x, we'd still be less than Ethereum in total market cap. So to me, it screams opportunity. It tells us how early we are. And the first thing that's going to be regulated over here in the United States is stablecoins. And ironically, Ripple is launching a US dollar derivative, the stablecoin RLUSD, starting before the end of this calendar year. So just in time for regulation, just as Tether may be pushed out of this market, Ripple is offering a product that's going to bring even more value to the XRPL. So I'm super excited when it comes to all those different narratives. Mario, Gonzo, what do you guys think? Then we'll get into our next one.
Well, Abs, actually, we spoke about it during the show earlier today, where the like you showed a chart showing with the market cap of the different stable coins that we have in the crypto space, and obviously Tether's at the top of that list, and you know we discussed the regulatory status, or I guess the clarity status of Tether is very uncertain. I mean, I personally don't really trust keeping anything in Tether for too long. I understand that I have to get into Tether often because of certain trades, but I like to get in and get out, not really stay anything in Tether. And Tether yet still has such a massive market cap within crypto. So in that topic of conversation, really shows the potential that there is for the stablecoin market. And obviously we have USDC. It's been around for a few years. It's trusted. It's got good solid partnerships. Coinbase involved. Circle's behind it. I mean, the people behind and the institutions behind Circle. You can pretty much trust USDC, or at least that they're not doing the same. They're not doing the same shady stuff that potentially Tether is. But what I'm trying to say with this is that it just screams opportunity from a perspective of competitiveness within coins. And obviously, Ripple is gearing up to release the RLUSD. And given the fact that Ripple is such an established company, they've got so much. They've got so much money in the bank. They've got partnerships and everything, and the way that they plan to introduce RLUSD as part of their core products, which will then therefore run on XRPL. Obviously, there's a great use case and a great opportunity there for a stablecoin. So we've heard multiple comments. We've also got stablecoin regulation that is potentially going to be the first type of regulation that we will get that in the space of crypto. So I think that again that's another indication of what's happening behind the scenes. And we spoke about the impact that stable coins also have in the US dollar market. And so I do believe we will continue to see that market there. The big question that I will continue to have, and I'm certain that a lot of people still have and well, is obviously that regulatory, that clarity from Tether, right? And when will Tether be dethroned, and what's really going on there for Tether to just have such a massive market capitalization, and then obviously the ties that it has to the pricing of Bitcoin, which is also another topic of conversation. But anyway, there is tremendous potential for stablecoin. I believe that they will have a positive impact, not just in the crypto space, but in global adding competition to traditional systems like banks. You make action through the bank, or at least a transfer through the bank. I mean, it's going to cost you not that it's just going to cost you a lot of money, but if you're doing it overseas, it's going to take a while to settle. I mean, potentially stable coins, they're a solution for that too. And if anything, they're creating pressure in the traditional banking system.
Gonzo, I did want to kick it over to you. I'm just reading some data on Bitcoin in the background. And another thing that we can talk about from a demand standpoint is that if you think about the same demand, which means just the Solana ETFs, the XRP ETFs, we see a similar amount of volume that's been trading publicly come from this private sector. We're going to see these projects 10x, 5x in 3 to 4 months. But the problem and the question that I'd like to ask you is, are we still stuck in that 4-year cycle narrative? Because for the first time ever, we're not speculating anymore. We're talking about which companies are buying these assets, but does that mean that money's going to be here for 3 years, for 4 years? or is it going to be another liquidity pump like we've seen before? You're the TA guy, so I'm going to defer to you. What do you think from your perspective?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that it's always a little bit different, but I think the cycle will play out like it always has. My thesis has always been that these projects, that we will go into a bear market, probably in 2026, and that all of these projects, doesn't matter how good the technology is, doesn't matter how big market cap gets, these projects are going to correct like they always do. Some projects like Solana corrected 97, 98%, right? The only two that held up okay was Bitcoin at the low 80s and then Ethereum, right? Everything else was in the high 90s. And so I believe that will happen again. And so I will, just like I DCA'd into this thing, I will plan based on that. Now everybody's different, right? Everyone has a different time horizon. Everyone has different goals, right? And so really that should dictate like what your exit plan is, right? Right? Are you here short term? Are you here for the 12 months? Are you here? Remember, we met some people like at XRP Las Vegas that when we were talking about Merlin, they looked at us like we had a third forehead, right? Because that's not for them, but for their grandchildren or for their children, right? So they don't care about ever taking or ever selling a single XRP. It's okay. That's their thesis, and that's what they're going to follow, right? But what I lean into, what I look at, if you look at the best performing asset that we've had this cycle, it's been meme coins. Now, I'm not telling you to FOMO into meme coins. Check that out because that really just reflects of where we are in this market, right? We are very attention driven, a very narrative driven, right? What have been our top performing assets besides meme coin? AI. You've seen the things that Nvidia have made and the narrative that's come out with Nvidia, and that's translated to the crypto market. AI, RWA, everything we're talking about tokenizing assets, all those things, right? RWA absolutely crushed it, right? I think that is going to do extremely well. One of the catalysts that we've had so far is Off the Grid, that game that's built on Avalanche, right? Where you're seeing these like gamers or people from Web 2 come into Web 3 because they finally made a game that was not based on crypto. It's just a great game to play, and in the underneath layer is crypto and blockchain, right? And that's going to bring people in, and we're going to get another Off the Grid, right? That's going to bring even more people in. And so I just feel that we're just earlier, right? At some point we're going to get regulation. At some point I think the market stabilizes and maybe it acts different, but for now, because I believe we're attention driven and narrative driven, that's why I've deployed into like those top narratives, because I think those will do extremely well. When retail comes in, right, unfortunately, it's the human condition that a lot of people don't want to work. They don't want to do research, right? They just want to find the quick fix. And when you look at AI, it's easy to understand. And then they watch what happens with AI, ChatGPT, all of these things that are being kind of woven into our day-to-day lives. It's easy for them to understand that and then translate to the crypto market, right? That's why we think that AI has been doing so well. It'll be the same with GameFi, and then RWA. And so that just tells me that we're extremely early.
I'm excited, Gonzo, and it's easy to be optimistic right now for the main reason that BlackRock's here, and we know BlackRock eventually is going to change the sentiment of the SEC. Mario, we've been going for about a half an hour. We had a half an hour space scheduled for tonight. I did just want to give a shout out to the U.S. Politics Alert. Announced the news. This is pretty official, guys. Eric Trump is now following Good Morning Crypto. So, Mario, I'm going to end it on a strong note, and I did want to say this space is brought to you by Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. No, that was not fake news. Eric Trump actually followed our Twitter, so I thought that was freaking awesome. Another thing that I felt was relevant is that he did it after viewing the tweet I put out about Bitcoin and XRP. So another narrative I'd like to put out there, Mario. Any closing remarks, and then we'll close it out for today.
No, I mean, it's been great being here. Obviously, this spaces is brought to you by Merlin, and I'm proud to say that I am the customer support manager over at Merlin. So if you don't know what Merlin is, I highly recommend you click on that profile here in the spaces. Go check it out. If you're listening to this while you're busy. The website is merlincrypto.com. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial and get your hands in Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. Start your exit strategy. That's our big flagship tool there. And then obviously we pride ourselves by having the best customer support team in the crypto space. So if you need any help, just press the little question mark, reach out to support, and me or one of our team members will help you out. So it's been great being here with you, Abs, and obviously Gonzo as well. And I'm looking forward to being on GMC tomorrow morning with you guys.
Absolutely, guys. And I see we got XRP Bits joining us. I think he makes the comment of the day in our live chat, or the phrase of the day. So I appreciate that, XRP Bits. If that's the one that I'm remembering from our live chat, shout out to you, dude. We definitely appreciate your work. KG is also out there. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. Gonzo, I think we got you connected again. Floor is yours. Any closing statements, and then we'll close it out. Oh, he may be disconnected here, guys, but you let me know. Mario, is his audio coming through for you, or?
No, I didn't hear him.
All right, guys. So we're just going to end it on that note. I want to say,
can you hear me now, Mario?
Oh, perfect. We got you back.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just letting you guys know I'm back. Sorry, I think I got disconnected in the middle of all that as soon as I got close to my house.
That's okay. Do you have any closing remarks for today, Gonzo, before we end it? I'm not sure. Is it just my audio, Mario? Can you?
No, I don't hear him. I think he's out again.
Yeah, we're having technical issues, guys. I apologize for that, but that seems to be the standard on these spaces. Thanks again to everybody who joined us. Happy Halloween. Exciting times as always. And if you're looking for another show, we'll see you in 12 hours on Good Morning Crypto, guys. So special shout out to everybody there. We'll have Gonzo tomorrow. We'll have Mario tomorrow. And I think that's it. I got to check our guest list. I know we have Mikkel joining us next week. We're going to have Mark Yusko coming back in the month of November. So all that is very exciting. But I did want to say thank you. Go and check out Merlin, merlincrypto.com to start your 30-day free trial. And if you're in the Warrior Academy, you do get an additional discount, only $12 a month, guys. Take advantage of this opportunity. I want to say thank you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Merlin Crypto Market Update located on the X app. I'm Abs, your host and Senior Engagement Officer at Merlin, and we hope you enjoyed this episode from our Merlin X Spaces. Remember, you can catch us live every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the X app at Get Merlin Crypto. If you want to take your crypto tracking to the next level, don't miss out on our free 30-day trial at merlincrypto.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.